Hey everybody, Steve Sherman here, the Golf Gaming Podcast. This was going to be a full podcast tonight with my co-host Boston Capper. Unfortunately, he got pulled away. He's not going to be able to do the show tonight. Don't worry, everything's okay. So tonight we were going to do our Week 14 picks. We were going to get his thoughts about the Patriots, and we're going to go back and forth about the dumpster fire known as professional golf right now, air a couple grievances, but I'm not going to do that just solo. I'm sure that the rest of this month is going to provide some more news about players going to live and just the internal class struggle that's going on with the PGA Tour. We'll save both those thoughts for maybe another day. There's a lot of content about that right now. You probably are going to just hear the same stuff anyway. So we're just going to do NFL picks tonight. I'm just going to give out my top 5 picks real quickly here. And then next week, hopefully we'll have a full show. So, number 5 pick this week. Let's go Cleveland minus 2.5. Now, this has been bouncing around between 3 and 2.5 all week. It seems like Trevor Lawrence is going to play. I actually think that made me like Cleveland a little more this week. Lawrence has been very good against pressure this year. Cleveland, obviously, very good team. It's a lot of pass rush. Obviously, stops the run very well a lot too. Jaguars can't run the ball. They're 31st in defensive DVOA or offensive DVOA for rushing, and it's going to be really bad weather. You're going to have rain, you're going to wind, you're cold, and obviously just kind of fading a southern team coming up north. I am concerned about Cleveland's ability to score as well. I don't know if it's going to be Flacco. It seems like Amari Cooper is going to play though. So I think, the Jags coming off a overtime loss on Monday night. I like Cleveland minus 2.5. So, all right, next game. So this game started at 6, and I actually was leaning the Jets at the beginning of the week, but it has been pounded down to 3.5. I think because of the weather concerns in MetLife this week. Obviously, rain, cold, wind. I get it. There's a big storm system coming up. You got an indoor team coming to New York, but look, it was bad weather last week in Atlanta too, and Atlanta's still covered. I think Houston is a better team than Atlanta. Yes, the Falcons can run the ball better than Houston. Houston, doesn't really run the ball all that great, but I mean, look, like, is there any real difference between Tim Boyle and Zach Wilson at this point? They're going back to him. I don't know if he has a whole lot of confidence. I think this is an overreaction at this point. Houston stops the run pretty well too, and that's all really the Jets are going to be able to do. And they can't run the ball at all. They're 32nd in DVOA and rushing. You got Breece Hall with an ankle injury. I think Houston's going to win by more than 3. So I'm going to take the minus 3.5. I understand that the sharps are all over Houston at the higher line. I think it just has swung too far. Houston, I don't understand why, if the Falcons covered in basically similar weather conditions last week, Houston can't do the same. So Houston minus 3.5. Number 3 pick. I don't think the Chargers should be favored over anybody. They are 2.5 point favorites at home against Denver. Look, I think if you're Los Angeles, I think you're hoping, okay, Denver 32nd run DVOA. Austin Eckler's been struggling. Let's get him going. Something's up with him. He went on the Matt Harmon Fantasy Football podcast like he does every single weekend. It seems like he's searching for stuff. He's looking at game film and he's saying things like, I'm trying to remember muscle memory. It just seems like it's not really going to work out for him this week. Denver's run defense also played a lot better since like week 4. A lot of their bad rushing DVOA stats have been, towards the beginning of the year when they played like Miami and the Jets. Lately, it's been a little better though. So the Chargers defense is absolutely pathetic. I think Denver just has the coaching advantage. I'm just going to take the points here. Denver plus 2.5. Number 2 pick. So both teams are coming off a bye. No advantage there. Minnesota's only a 3-point favorite. I've heard some Raiders love this week. I don't totally get it. Maybe I am biased though. Holding a Raiders under wins ticket. But look, I think Minnesota's going to get back on track this week. Obviously they left a very bad taste in people's mouth with that really bad Monday performance a couple of weeks ago, but you're going to Justin Jefferson back. Hawkinson should still keep it low. The Raiders can't cover tight ends. The one thing Dobbs has been doing very well since he's come to Minnesota, he's been really crushing zone defenses. The Raiders play a lot of zone. And look, like Aiden O'Connell, he's been pretty bad against pressure this year so far. Minnesota, obviously the highest blitzing team in the league. I think Minnesota is going to go into Las Vegas and cover the spread. So Minnesota -3. And then the number one pick of the week. I'm not going to be too cute about this. Baltimore -7.5, coming off a bye week. It's going to be bad weather in Baltimore as well. You got some rain, you got some wind, and I'm going to just back a quarterback who's mobile versus one that isn't and plays in Los Angeles. And look, I understand they got Kyren Williams back. Could they run the ball? Sure, but Baltimore's defense is just really stout. I think the Rams are going to have a lot of trouble scoring, and the Rams defense is just a little overrated this year. I mean, obviously got Aaron Donald, but I mean, they're kind of middle of the road in all the year statistics. So Baltimore -7.5 is my lock of the week. So really good tease too. Teaser week as well. I'm going to leave you just with a tease. How about we tease 6-point tease? Baltimore down to -1.5. Let's go Tampa up to 8. I think that's going to be a close game. I think the Falcons are just incapable of not playing a close game, especially against a division rival. So Tampa up to +8, and then Denver +8.5. So let's go with that tee. So once again, I'm sorry. I thought this was going to be a full podcast, but hopefully you like my picks. And we'll be back next week with something. I don't know exactly what. We're trying to fill content, but we'll be back next week for a show. So with that, thanks for tuning in.